What's going on, everyone? First, before I get this video started, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. This video is going to go out on Thanksgiving Day. I finally have some time. I'm off of work, and I finally have time to make a video. And I'm glad I've waited because now a whole lot of news have came out. The injury report has came out for the Florida Gators. It's a big week for the Florida Gators. They play the Florida State Seminoles rivalry week. It's Florida State hate week. Florida State is a great rivalry. Where I live closer to Tallahassee, so there's so many more FSU fans. And so if Florida loses this game, I work with a lot of Florida State fans. It won't be good, but the injuries are piling up right now for the Florida Gators, so the wide receiver position is going to be thin. Now, the wide receiving group hasn't been the greatest for the Florida Gators this year, so I'm not too overly concerned. This should not be an excuse if Florida loses this game, because I think there's actually some capable receivers that the Florida Gators will have against Florida State. Now, the receivers that will be out or not playing against Florida State, it is going to be Justin Shorter, Marcus Burke, Ty Bowman, Xavier Henderson, and Jaquavian Frazier. So all five out. Now, Ricky Pearsall is questionable. Now, that one will be big. I'm hoping he can play. I think he will. I think he'll be fine. Keon Zipper is questionable. So, maybe the Florida Gators can have him back, which would be an upgrade at the tight end position. Still, cornerback Devin Moore still out, and Marco Ortiz. Some good news on the injury side, I guess. Kicker, the true freshman kicker, Trey Smack. He actually will be back. He's missed the last 2 games due to injury, a lower body injury, so he will be back. That is good news. No. The Florida Gators, the wide receiver position has not been great this year, but Dejon Reynolds had a big game against Vanderbilt. Had a breakout game, had 2 touchdowns, over 160 yards. So it's going to be Dejon Reynolds, Caleb Douglas, who I really like. I've liked a lot from the true freshman Caleb Douglas. So he's probably going to get a lot of targets against FSU. But if Ricky Pearsall comes out healthy, if he's healthy against FSU, look for Ricky Pearsall to be the go-to receiver for Anthony Richardson. But listen, the reason why I'm not too overly concerned is because the passing game is not the bread and butter for the Florida Gators. It's the run game. If the Florida Gators can get the run game established, other things will open in the passing game. And if we got guys that are capable of catching the ball and getting open like Caleb Douglas and Dejon Reynolds, I think the Florida Gators will be just fine in the passing game. So, a lot of injuries at the skill position, but I'm okay. It looks bad on paper, but to me, I'm like, hey, this will give another opportunity for guys like Dejon Reynolds, who hasn't been playing all year, Caleb Douglas to get more snaps, and, maybe it's time for these guys to show out because the Florida Gators are going to have a pretty stacked wide receiving group in the 2023 class. But I'm excited for Reynolds and Douglas to be the go-to targets against FSU. So, and I think FSU can actually be thrown on a little bit in the secondary, so it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for this matchup, to be honest with you. Florida State, Florida. It's going to be a big rivalry game in Florida State. You're going to hear the chant that they always have. But listen, to me, the best sound in college football is silence when you're on the road. Quieting a crowd has got to be the best sound if you're a football player. So, maybe the Florida Gators can go in. They're a 9.5 point underdog. Now, I think this was before all these injuries that came out. Could be a little bit more, but the last time I looked, 9.5. And I don't see it if Florida loses, or really Florida wins or loses. I don't see it being a 9.5 point swing either way. I think this is going to be a 4 to 5 point victory or 4 or 5 point loss. It's a rivalry game. You can throw out all this stuff. You throw out the past, throw out everything. Rivalry games, it's just different. I've told people, if you bet on football games, do not bet during rivalry week. You could throw everything out the window. Look at what happened last year. Auburn and Alabama played. Auburn was like 6-5. Alabama, they came in at like 10-1, and Auburn dang near beat them, took them to 4 overtimes. I mean, just take all the take everything out, throw it out the window. Rivalry week, it just hits different. The teams play different, and everyone's so amped up during the week. So, I've had this circled on my calendar all year long. Every year I do. And, Florida State's going to be hungry. They got a lot of momentum. They haven't beat Florida in quite some time. So, maybe that's in the back of their head because, it's been tough. Even last year, it seemed like a lot of Florida State fans thought they had an opportunity to beat Florida. Without a head coach, they were in turmoil, and Florida still got the victory. A lot of people were mad about that because they thought that was their opportunity to get that victory over Florida, and it didn't happen. So, but Florida looks to keep that winning streak alive against Florida State on Friday night on ABC, and man, I can't wait. If Florida wins, this would be huge for Billy Napier. I think all would probably be forgotten about the Vanderbilt game if he can get an upset victory over the rival, and go to 7-5 entering their bowl game. But we'll have to see. Hopefully, Billy Napier has a great game plan because Florida State, it seems like their coaching staff, they have gotten better and better each week with their play calls. They're blowing teams out. So Billy Napier better come prepared, especially going into Tallahassee. But hey, guys, as always, I appreciate y'all watching this channel. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great one.